Welcome to the Highly Effective Man podcast, hosted by former Navy SEAL turned life and fitness coach. I'm your host, JP Bolwan. This podcast is your resource for unlocking the healthiest, most productive, and highly effective man within you. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Highly Effective Man podcast. I'm your host, JP. And today we're going to talk about some of the most common myths centered around weight loss. And it only takes, a day of going through Instagram or social media or even on Google. And, if you look up like what's the best diet or, what should I do to lose weight, you're going to come up with like all these different answers. And some of them are just straight up wrong, right? Or they go to the extreme to say like, this is the way or this is the only way. Okay, so one of the first myths that I want to talk about is that people say that, or people have this idea that carbs make you fat. Or people also think that I have to exercise to lose weight. And then one of the most common ones that I get when I'm working with people is that I had a hard workout, so I can eat whatever I want. Okay, and, like I said, all it takes is to go on social media or Google, and you're going to come up with all these diets that people are doing, right? Some really popular ones right now are the keto diet or the carnivore diet, anything that's like high fat, low carb, and then there's also, vegan diets and I mean, you name it. Okay. And it's not about the diet itself, right? Because all diets work to a point. Okay. And it's not because they cut out carbs or they cut out fat or whatever it is. It's because of whatever activity level that you are at, you're basically eating to support whatever you're doing and not body fat. So you're probably under eating for the amount of activity that you're doing. So as a result, you start to lose weight. Okay. And so there's trade-offs too to some of these diets, right? So like if you're trying to do a lot of high intensity activities, then the keto diet or something that's low carb and high fat is not going to be beneficial to you. You need carbs to be able to perform at your full potential. Okay. And so it's important to realize that if I want to perform well and if I want to have hard workouts, then I need to have some kind of carbs. Okay, so that leads me into the first myth, right? Where people say, oh, carbs make you fat. No, excessive consumption of refined carbohydrates will make you fat and sick. Okay, so, and it's not just excessive consumption of carbohydrates, it's just excessive consumption, period, right? And that's across the board. So like excessive consumption of protein, excessive consumption of fat, excessive consumption of carbs. Okay. Yeah. You can cut out carbs and start to lose weight, but it's not because you cut out carbs. It's because you cut out the calories that were attached to those carbs. Okay. And yes, there's the whole idea of, it's not an idea, it's a fact, but that, when you consume carbs, you're introducing glucose into your system, which then, tells your pancreas to secrete insulin, because insulin tells the body to like let glucose into the cells so that it can be used up for energy. Yes, that's all true. And then you can become insulin resistant. And then that leads to a whole host of other problems, right? Where you have hyperinsulinemia and, that leads to type 2 diabetes and all these other things. Okay. But the idea that if I am eating carbs, it's going to make me fat is just false. Okay. Excessive consumption of carbs will make you fat and sick. Okay. And that's important to know. All right. It's not true about carbs. You can still lose weight and eat carbs every day. When I prepared for my bodybuilding competition in 2019, I ate carbs every day. And many of those days I was having white rice, which, people would say like, oh my God, that's pretty bad. And I also had an ice cream bar at night as a reward to being disciplined throughout the day. Okay. And that ice cream bar was 150 calories and it was planned for, it was tracked, and it was a part of what I was doing to basically keep me sane and just, happy while I was dieting, right? It was just like a little reward. And to be honest, like the diet wasn't that hard when I I had like flexible eating patterns, right? I wasn't depriving myself of all these different things, and I made it as flexible as possible so that I could eat a variety of foods and not feel like I was depriving myself or being too strict with myself or anything like that. Okay. And, the idea that carbs make you fat was proven wrong. I don't know who the guy is that did it, but there was a guy that ate Twinkies all day and still lost weight. Okay. I don't recommend doing that. Okay. But the reason why he lost weight wasn't, it was because he was only eating 1,800 calories per day. And I think the study even goes on to say that his hormones, his blood markers, all of that even improved from just eating Twinkies, but not excessively eating the amount of food that, most of us probably overeat. Okay. He was eating 1,800 calories. He lost weight, and, all he did was eat Twinkies. Okay. So that right there should prove to you that, yes, you can eat carbs and still lose weight. Okay. And another myth that I hear is that I don't have time to work out, so losing weight's going to be hard, right? Or I need to work out all the time if I'm going to lose weight, and that's also false. Okay, so when it comes to losing weight, yes, working out does help, and yes, working out is beneficial to your health and your long-term health. Right? There's a whole lot of reasons why working out is good for you, but it is not the only reason to do it is to lose weight, because the reality is the amount you work out is negligible to the amount of food that you eat. Okay. So like if I have a really hard workout that's an hour long, if I'm lucky, it's going to be 800 to 1,000 calories that I burned. Right? Well, I could easily just nullify all that hard work that I put in by eating a meal at a fast food restaurant, right? You can even see it at some of these fast food restaurants now. They put up the calories next to them, and it's pretty surprising, right? Like you could get a burger and a meal, and then next thing you know, you've consumed 1,100 calories in that one meal. Okay, so now you have to think about like how hard do I have to work to negate that 1,100 calories? Well, it's so much easier to just eat healthy and eat the right foods that leave you satiated versus trying to say that I just need to work out, right? And that's not true, right? You don't even have to work out. You just have to watch what you eat, right? So if I'm watching what I eat and I don't have a whole lot of time to work out, then the thing that I need to think about is the amount of food that I'm eating enough to support my activities and not body fat, right? So if I'm not going to be busy today, or if I don't have time to work out today, well, then naturally I should consume less food. Okay. And that goes for like, if you want to break it up by days or by weeks or whatever it is, if I'm just not getting my workouts in, well, then I need to eat less, okay? Because what it comes down to is that we need to eat food to support our activity level and not body fat, okay? And the problem is that most of us are overeating and eating to support body fat because, we misjudge our activity level, or we misjudge the amount of food that we need to eat. Okay. And I think that's something that's super important for people to learn, is like, how much food do I really need to have to support activity and not body fat? And then the other top reason or myth that I hear is that, oh, I had a hard workout so I can eat whatever I want, right? A lot of times this comes up, this comes up quite often actually in some of my coaching programs. And some of my clients, they'll be doing really good, and then they're pushing themselves, and then sometimes, for whatever reason, they might fall off the wagon. And one common myth is like, oh, I had this really hard run this morning, so then I ate all this stuff, and so yeah, I felt like I deserved it, right? It's like our brain pulling a trick on us, right? It's justifying something that we want, even though it's kind of like we want two different things. Like, we want to lose weight, but then we also want to eat that cupcake, right? And so now we're caught in this dilemma, and it's like, okay, no, you have to figure out what you really want more, right? But you cannot outwork a bad diet, okay? Plain and simple, right? I've tried it. I tried it for like 20 years, and it wasn't until I really, dialed in my diet that I was able to figure out that, wow, like, if I would have been eating like this, I really could have transformed my body, could have transformed my results. I probably could have delayed, or I don't know how, if you want to say this, but like, I probably could have been more athletic for a longer period of time, right? So it's super important to look at your diet and understand that even if you are working out hard, that doesn't mean that you should be eating crappy. If anything, if you're working out hard, you should be making sure that you're putting in the right foods into your body so that your body can take advantage of all those nutrients and repair itself and build itself to basically the Ferrari that you want to be. And, if nutrition is something that you struggle with and you just can't seem to crack the code on it, then, I really want you guys to consider checking out my Warrior Ready program. Okay, I'm starting a group next week. I start a group every 8 weeks. And all you have to do is go to thewarriorbody.com, fill out your information. You'll learn some more. And this is a men's group coaching program. So we cover everything from nutrition, working out, mindset, habits, accountability. Okay, and it's 8 weeks of coaching. We meet on Zoom. We go through some education pieces, but then we also go through just straight up coaching. Like, what are you struggling with? What do you need help with? That type of thing. And the cool thing about the group is that you get to hear about all these different guys that are having maybe similar struggles or maybe some other different struggles around nutrition. And it helps you just learn a lot about nutrition, mindset, habits, accountability, all of that. Okay, so that's starting next week. If you guys are interested in that, go to thewarriorbody.com. And just to kind of recap what we talked about today, just make sure that you don't fall into the trap of thinking that carbs make you fat. No, it's overeating that makes you fat. Okay, and you can lose weight without doing a ton of exercise. You just got to make sure that you're eating to support your activity levels and not body fat. And on the flip side of that is just make sure that you're not thinking like, oh, I had a hard workout, so I'm going to justify, eating all these different things, right? Because it's very easy to, suffer through a workout and be like, okay, I'm going to reward myself. But if that reward is excessive, well, now then you just put yourself in a hole, right? When it comes to calories in, calories out, that type of thing. I hope you guys found this helpful. And on a side note, I just want to say thank you to all of you that have sent me a message about this podcast, that you've been finding value in it. I really appreciate it, okay? Because I put these out. I don't know who's listening, and I enjoy hearing the feedback. I enjoy hearing suggestions, and I just want to say thank you. If you're one of those people that has sent me a nice message, then thank you. It really warms my heart, and it really makes me want to continue to put these out there and do the best that I can. Okay, so thank you. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys also leave a review. And one of the best compliments that you could give me is to share one of my episodes with somebody that you feel like that they need to hear it. That's all I got for you guys today. Let's go. Thank you for listening to the Highly Effective Man podcast. If you enjoyed or learned something on this episode, do me a favor and share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. And one last thing, if you want to work with me as your coach to help you get fit, be more productive, and in general, just be the most effective version of yourself, head over to my site, higherlevelcoaching.co. Once again, that's higherlevelcoaching.co, and schedule a call with me there. Thank you again. Let's go.